if you should read the book of Genesis, the first 11 chapters, you might think that the world has no hope because nobody is fit enough to be a friend of God. But that is not the end of the story. Read Genesis chapter 12. When you read chapter 12 of Genesis, you come across a man called Abraham. His story is that he was nobody, but God said, I'll make you somebody. And slowly but gradually, God took him to a new place. God relocated him. When Abraham got to the place of relocation, sometimes it's not easy to accept relocations in life, but he trusted God. He was faced with one problem. He moved with his brother, Lot. His cousin actually, but he called him his brother. And then he told his brother, look, choose which of the sides you want, which of the portions of the land that you want. You choose your part. We are told that Lot was made to do the first choice. So he looked around and noticing the land, the portion of the land that was so fertile that could get him enough to feed his family and animals and servants, he chose the better part. And if you have stopped reading at that particular verse, you think that, Abraham was left with nothing. Because Lot has taken what? The better part. But go on and read and you hear what God did for him. We are told that since Abraham had no choice, he had nothing for himself, he was left with the less better part, so to say. And yet we are told that when Abraham chose that part, God walked with him. God went with him. So for him, the equation was that God was in it, and that changed his story. The end of the story is that now we don't hear of Lot and what he did, but Abraham is the one we keep saying, Father Abraham. Today we heard that in the gospel. If God goes with you, if God walks along with you, there is so much you can expect from him. Amen. And so the poor are always the icon of God. Those who have no one to choose for them, God chooses for them. Today's first reading from the book of Amos, we have the same picture, a similar picture. Amos wasn't a prophet, he wasn't a priest, yet God called him to go and minister, to give a word to the people. He told them, look, just listen. Woe to those who are at ease in Zion. People who are comfortable, complacent, that's the word. People were getting too complacent with life. They were not just thinking about themselves and their families, making themselves feel more comfortable. And they must say, woe to you, woe to me. Woe means beware, be careful. It's a warning to us. And then he goes on to say, and those who feel secure on the mountain of Samaria, people maybe because they have insurance, they have property, this can say, for the next 50 years, look, I can even stop working and my investment can take care of me. Are you putting your security in Samaria? Are you putting your security in these earthly things? Today, God is saying, be careful. Be careful. It's a warning to us. That is not all. Then he goes on to say, and woe to those who lie upon beds of ivory. Ivory was even now, ivory is a symbol of worthiness. Somebody who is using ivory or has access to ivory is a worthy person, expensive lifestyle. So he wants us also in that regard. All because he's saying that they were not thinking of others, thinking of the person next door, but just about yourself. So this is the picture of God to us this morning. That you are not just to think about yourself and your family, your business and your everything, mine, me, I. No. Move beyond that. So here in the gospel that Jesus told that story of Lazarus and the rich man. Unfortunately, we are not giving the name of the rich man, but we are giving the name of Lazarus. Because that rich man could be you, could be me. We are all rich in one way or the other. But we have come to call the rich man Dives. Dives is a Latin word for rich. So he's called Dives. If you come across that one somewhere, it's the same person we are talking about. And the story is so simple. This man was so rich that every day he ate sumptuously, heard the word. So for him, every day was a party. We have people like that still in this world. Every day they feast. And then what happened? Just behind his door, at his gate, there was this man, Lazarus, poor, in torment, in pain. And yet, he didn't do anything. What we are told was that this poor man yearned to eat the scraps that fell from his table. What we know is that in those days, the very, very rich people, there were no napkins as we have now. So when they had eaten, to clean their hands, they had this bread that they used to just wipe their fingers. And that is the kind of bread this man, Lazarus, was yearning to eat. Not being the proper bread, but the bread that was for wiping fingers after eating. And if he had got even that, he would have loved it. There are men sitting amongst us, people in this world, who want just something that you may think, oh, this is nothing. Just something small. But for them, that would be their daily bread. Have you paid attention to them before? Then we are told that since this rich man didn't look at this poor man, then there was a change of the scene. We are transferred to another scene of life, the hereafter. That this poor man was taken to heaven, and the rich man was taken below heaven. We call it Hades. You can call it hell. But the truth is that what your position in this world today cannot guarantee you your position in the world to come. Please don't forget that. What you are today, your position in life today, is no guarantee of what will happen to you tomorrow in heaven. So please, let's watch that. You must always invest for the future. Invest for heaven. And what was the crime of Davis, the rich man? We didn't hear that he was taking Lazarus every time he was going into his house. We didn't hear that he stopped his servant, don't take the scrap of bread to the man there. We didn't hear he was insulting the man whenever he was passing by. But what was his crime? He did nothing. He did nothing. For him, somebody's problem was his problem. Somebody not having money to pay his students' fee, that is his own business. Somebody not getting a job to work or somewhere to work, that is his own business. Somebody not having money to take care of his health issues, that is his own business. Somebody lying by the street, that is his own business. Somebody who is an orphan, has no parents, that is his own business. He did nothing. He didn't make Lazarus that way. And that sin of omission, not doing anything, can cause us someday. So this morning, we have been reminded to think of what we could have done, what we can do, yet every day we overlook them. Don't overlook the Lazaruses on your way of life. There are many here in the chapel. There are many back home at where you are. There are many at your workplaces. Lazarus are always around us. Don't overlook them. Because some of these Lazaruses are giving you a visa for heaven someday. Had this man had he known that this Lazarus could have gotten him heaven, he would have taken good care of him. And yet we are told that, look, not even somebody from the dead could change his brothers who were left behind. Today, the Moses are speaking to us. What I'm saying could be that Moses' voice to you. Don't wait and you say, had I known. No. Today, we have been reminded to look for the Lazaruses and do something. Failing to do good is also a sin. May God help us to have the eyes to see what to do. May God help us to have the courage to do the right. May God help us be blessed one day in heaven. Amen.